Hello everyone. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a long one, so I decided to do a little bit longer build video for my Marmotte that I'm doing, along with a comparison between my Eco Emax motors and my new Xing 2306 2750 kV motor. So I decided to go with the Xing motors because Tack put him on his last build, but he was talking about 2306, and we were discussing that 2306 being his favorite, so I thought I might try it, and I went with the 2750 so that way I could use 4 cells since they're a little bit cheaper. So hope you enjoy the video, grab something to drink, and let me know if you like this type of video from me, some explanations and stuff like that. Other than that, happy ripping and enjoy the video. So this is my new build that I'm doing. I'm doing the Marmotte with the titanium cage on there. As y'all know, I've been flying the Emax Ecos. In my previous video, I've talked about how the bells have been separating on them right at the seam. This one actually has a bent shaft. That's the one I bent. But I decided to try these new Xing from iFlight, the 2306. Tack was discussing it with me and he likes the 2306s. However, I went with the 2750 kV. Decided to go back to 4 cell on that as far as efficiency. Right now all I have is one 5 cell. The other one's kind of just burned out, but the 4 cells are staying good, so I decided to go with a little bit higher kV motor. These iFlight motors, they look a whole lot better build quality. Has a lip on there to keep the magnets in. It looks like it has decent adhesive. I don't know if you can see in there, but the bell itself has more adherence to the upper shaft housing than the Emax ones, where this one barely goes in there a couple millimeters, and it doesn't look like it has very much glue on there. Also, to note, the larger 9mm bearings on the iFlight, the stator, and the windings look so much better than these. Look how the wire quality is on the Emax. So if you compare those, the magnet is bigger on the iFlight. The windings have larger copper wires that are more uniformly wound. The Eco has these smaller wires that are, you can tell that they're just like bunched up on there. So the difference in these two motors, I'm assuming, is going to be great. The aspect of them that I like is they're both cheap. I bought these because they were cheap. They were $11.99 a motor, so I got 5 of them. That was about a month and a half ago. So I'm already burnt through 3 of them. 1 bent shaft, the other 2 separating bells. 1 of them started from the first flight where I just bumped a curb whenever I was landing. These look a whole lot better quality, and I ordered 5 of them, but unfortunately they didn't have all 5 in stock. They only had 4. So if something goes wrong with these, I have to wait a couple weeks for them to get for Race Day Quads to get a shipment from iFlight. But I am anticipating these motors to be exceptional compared to these, both in durability and performance. So we'll see how that goes. It's like a night and day difference of those build quality. And also, I gotta say, I love the blue on these iFlight Xing motors. Of course, the Xing motors and iFlight, they're known for having really cool patterns. I like their camo ones and stuff. Just, I couldn't justify paying the extra almost $10 a motor for the camo edition. I'm gonna see how I like these. The build quality on these look amazing compared to the other one, the Ecos from Emax. So $2 difference. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully there's a big difference, and I'll continue on with the build. Okay, I'm gonna start recording this, the soldering. The reason that I was doing the time lapse is I don't know if people want to see a full build of the quad in real time, like taking hours. But I'll do this stuff like this a little bit slower, and just let me know what you think and what you want. So I've had questions about what this is. It's literally one of the mats that comes in your ESC case. The reason I put that down is, yeah, the rubber grommets kind of keep it from sliding, but if you go and put pressure on there, all the FETs and capacitors on the bottom make it on level, so you put it on this and it doesn't move. So I'm going to start soldering this up. Just comment below and let me know if you have any questions about the process. I'll kind of talk while I'm doing it, but it's not going to be a tutorial. It's just going to be me soldering it up. Oh, also, one thing. So on the Mamba, the Diatone F40 board, I've heard several people say that you can't use a spectrum on it because there's no 3.3. And they don't advertise it as having a 3.3, but I wrote them and I checked. This little 3.3 or 3v3 right here is a 3.3 voltage pad. They did say as long as it is a solid 3.3 volts that it is good to go. They did have me check it first with a voltmeter, which kind of makes me wary, but I'm gonna check it, and if it works, then awesome, because I thought I was gonna have to buy a 1.5 volt regulator drop down from the 5 volts, because it has like 100 5-volt pads on this board. So I'm getting ready to solder this up. Just let me know if you have any questions. I'll try and make it where it's easy to see, but yeah, we're going. This pad right here is for the smart audio control. Kind of had the wires wrapped a little too tight on this. There we go. And I'm using the TS100. Okay, so this is a 9-volt pad, ground, smart audio, video pad. as you can see, the Mamba system has this little layout diagram that helps with that. It also, on the back of this, labels your UARTs. So that is handy as well. I'm gonna have to rewind this after, but I'm gonna go ahead and do the camera control. And I'm just gonna go ahead and stick this back here to keep it from sliding, because that was still a problem. So we'll go with this. And the camera on the Foxeers can run off of battery voltage, but I'm gonna try it off of the voltage pad that it has here for it. And then this next one is a ground. And this next one here is the 5 volt. So that's what I think on my other Foxeer. There you go. That I am running battery voltage. Okay, on this, I'm gonna have to run this to a different UART. I'm gonna run it to trying to figure out which one I want to run it to. Thinking about running it right here. That should be RX6, and that will be for my camera control. So that's what I'm gonna do. I need to turn up that pad real quick. It's the second to last one. This one's current. There we go. That way I can have it all nice and neat right there. There we go. There we go. And then the last one, but certainly not least, the Spectrum receiver. I don't know. I know probably one thing that people wonder is, I know some people wonder why people use Spectrum. Honestly, I started out in an airplane, and what's better for airplane than a Spectrum? Because gotta admit, the Tranuses really became popular more because of the quad community. Before that, like flight tests and stuff like that, they recommend Spectrums, but Spectrum, I have a DX6i, so in order to run Crossfire, I would have to run it on PPM, and I hear from other people that do that it has a higher latency, and that'd be like the older style quads. It's an outdated system to send signal and receive signal. So that's something that in order to run Crossfire, I'd have to upgrade my whole radio. And I don't want to. I would upgrade honestly to I believe a DX9 should run it, but I probably would just go up to the next highest level, one that I know has a built-in protocol for Crossfire, because I have two RC planes that are pre-built, bind and fly, for Spectrum, and then I have a pre-built I have a FPV Plus that is bind and fly. and I have my receivers that are all spectrum. So really at this point it'd be pretty costly for me to give up spectrum. I would have to give up my whole, or I guess I could keep the whole DX6i for strictly flying my planes and stuff like that, but I don't know. I like the feel of a spectrum receiver or a transmitter, but one thing I don't know about is I really want longer range. Sometimes I'm gonna try an antenna mod on there, which I know a lot of people do it. Also, it helps if you have your spectrum in the full power mode. I believe it's what, 200 watts, 200 milliwatts, I should say. But mine came locked, and I didn't realize that it was on that. I flew around fail-safing for a while. So stupid. I was wondering why I was having fail-safe issues. I was like, no, I bought mine in the US, so it should be good. And of course with planes, you never notice that. It's up in the air, you have line of sight the whole time. Not with quads. You go around stuff, fly around buildings. Yeah, so as far as that goes, it's one of those things that we'll see. May end up just staying with this, and maybe my bigger antenna will get long enough range. But this is about ready to go on, so I'm gonna switch to the time lapse, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I've got all the major assembly done. I cut out the grip. I got the everything on. Okay, on this, I don't know if you've never installed one of these before on a Marmotte. It's kind of difficult at first, especially if you don't have a long thing, Allen wrench. However, if you just get the bolt started, you can flex this and pull it out of the way, which makes it a whole lot easier to get those bolts cinched down. So all I really have to do is cinch down these bolts, because you don't want to tighten up the frame where you can't adjust the cage. I did try that earlier, since I did some pre-assembly of it. And make sure all these are tight. Then I'm gonna set it about at 30 or so. And tighten it up. But that'll be it. I'll finish the little deal. Like, I need to do an antenna mount for this, and then I'll test it.